welcome to the Chaffin Church Podcast. My name is Marty Holman, and I'm your host. I'm here today with my good friend Jerry Caruso. Hello, Jerry.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for coming.
Oh,
Before I officially introduce you, I just want to say, if you're a fan of the podcast, if you wouldn't mind going to YouTube and subscribing, and give us a rate, a review. Also, rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever your podcasts are happening. Just wanted to get through that. Now we're beyond it. Jerry Caruso, my comedy teacher.
that's right.
And in September, Dan Cohen and I had the pleasure, in September, maybe not a year ago.
2020, yeah.
2020.
Yep.
We took a comedy class at Mount Wachusett
Yep.
Community College.
Yeah.
And you were the teacher. And Dan signed me up, and I was like, oh, okay. I wanted to do it, but I was like, sometimes I'm not into new things.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Oh, a lot of people are like that.
Yeah.
They say they want to do it, and then they're like, oh my God, it's tonight. Oh, can I take a bath? It's like, no, just do it,
Yeah.
I always tell people, that's like when I first started doing comedy, it's the same deal. I
Yeah.
was checking out, but my friend talked me into it. He goes, come on, you can do it, you can do it. I go, I'm not going to let down. My 14 friends that showed up for it, they took a school bus, whatever.
Yeah.
It worked.
So, okay, people can watch comedy anywhere, all the time
Yeah,
now on
pretty much.
Netflix, Hulu, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Who is, to you, the funniest comedian that you have ever heard?
Can I give you two?
Yeah, absolutely.
They tie.
Okay.
Rodney Dangerfield, because I think Rodney Dangerfield's a riot. It's self-deprecation comedy. Makes fun of himself, and he's
You get no respect.
I'll tell you, I get no respect. I'll tell you. But he's just like a genius. He just takes it to the top level of making fun of himself, and you feel bad, and you're on his side.
Yeah.
But it's very funny. And the other one, which is a totally different end of the spectrum, is Robin Williams. I think he's a comic genius, spontaneous, can do anything. And I've always aspired to be like that, but I've always learned, don't try to emulate a comedian or you start to pick up the habits. What you should do is just be yourself and take some of the qualities that they have. Like Robin Williams is spontaneous. When I do crowd work, it can be spontaneous. But my act is there. It's in my head. It's shelved in different areas. And I know what to pick up. I know what to do for a church crowd, for a Rotary Club. But I also know what to do for a bunch of bikers,
Yeah.
But I try not to go in the area where I go deep, 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 and I've always tried to teach, if you were listening that night, you know that if you're clean, you're going to get a lot of work, and you also know that you have to read your audience, and a lot of young comics fail at that because they think, oh, my friends think this is really funny. Oh, my girlfriends think this is a riot. My coworkers, those are different audiences. You get people coming to see comedy, they're anybody. Blue collar, white collar, older, younger,
Yeah.
hip, not hip, some needing hips, the usual.
Yeah.
That's a joke. It's not good. And just to be able to grasp what's in front of you, a lot of people find that difficult. Like I've known comics, and I think I told you this, I know comics that tell me, I can't do a church. I go, why? I just can't do it. Or, I can't do a clean show. Why? I gotta swear. I go, why do I have to swear? Think of a cutesy word instead of the 4-letter word, and there's plenty of them out there. I can't do that. That's not my style. I fought with so many people say, no, I can't do it. I'll offer money. Here's money. Here's the money. We're getting paid this much. I don't care if it's double that. I still can't do it.
Well, could it be just that they have succumb to their own habits?
Yeah.
It is,
Yep.
I'm good.
Bad traits. They just stick to old habits, don't die. And it's like, well, I can do this in front of my family, in front of my grandma. Like, apparently your grandma's more hip than mine was. So. But getting back to Robin Williams, just the things that he does, that he did, I should say. And to look at him, TV show, movies, comedy specials, character actor, I mean, you name it,
Yeah.
He's done it, and yet he was depressed. And,
Yeah.
Like so many comics.
Well, I wonder if there is something to be said about somebody who is so extreme. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, like, he was so extremely good, and he gave everything, like Heath Ledger. Those kind of things. It is that they give so much of themselves, they have nothing left, maybe for themselves.
There's a good possibility that a statement like that makes sense, because if you really think about it, people I know that do comedy, they'll remain unnamed. I can tell you many problems that they have. When they get to the stage, they're almost like a different person. Or in stuff like what happens in the past 2 years with the pandemic, I know a lot of them. Some have either cut down their work, some have stopped, some, they say it's not the same anymore. And I beg to differ, where you have to become more creative. Besides being funny, of course. You have to be more creative. Like I do Zooms, I do podcasts, I do live shows, I do shows online, and people say, how do you do it? It's like, it's easy. Either you pretend your audience is there, or if you're doing a Zoom or anything like that, the audience is out there. Leave your mics on. They go, no, we'll turn them off. You go, no, I want to hear people. One show I had to gauge their faces, and it was really difficult, and people came and went, not because of me, but they did that the whole show. But they had to go to little boys' room, little girls' room, get a drink, answer the phone, that's what people were doing. Whereas if you have a live show, like something like this, could even work if you presented to people, like if this was a regular show. It could work.
Yeah.
And I think also, too, like we said, the habits, people drop into their habits and they can't shake them off.
Yeah.
Where I learned, and so I do something right after 28 years, I think. People go, I talked about 20 years ago. Apparently I'm funny.
Wow.
Apparently I'm funny.
Well,
people still book me.
You are. Were you funny before, and when did you get started in comedy?
Believe it or not, I got started officially in comedy or unofficially. Because unofficially it was the 7th and 8th grade.
I would say officially then.
Officially. Twice, because once was 1980. I went into a contest called Class Clown from WVBF. It used to be a popular station. Lauren and Wally were on it. People remember those names, showing my age. And they had a contest, and this girl from high school says, oh, I signed you up. For what? Class Clown. I go, what's that? She says, oh, just don't tell jokes. You get up to 5 minutes. You can do it. I know you. And you were funny in high school. You can be funny now. I haven't done any comedy since. Oh, stop. You still make people laugh. So I took the challenge, and I did it, and I had to work 2 nights, and the first night was everybody performing. I think there were 100 of us, and broken down into 2 shows, and I finished. Then I went to the finals, which were only 10 comics, and so I made the top 10, and I finished 3rd, tied for 3rd, or 3rd, I think, and it was great. And then I got the bug, and so someone told me, you ought to go to Dane Ho's in Cambridge. Chinese restaurant mysteriously got burnt down. Go figure. Insurance. No, I shouldn't say that. It could have. But they, and Lenny Clark was
Dog bones everywhere. Sorry, that's
cat and stuff. Pigeons. Lenny Clark was running. Back then, that was Lenny Clark. He was thin, full of hair. He's thin now, yes. And Lenny's the top comic in Boston. There's no doubt about it. He's a great guy on and off stage. I've worked with him a few times. I did a cable show, Steve Katzos. Nice man. He had a show, like a variety show, like a Tonight Show. And me and Lenny were there, and he was like, where you been? I haven't seen you in a while. That's the kind of person that he was. So
yeah.
On and off stage, he was great. But anyway, so Lenny was running that show in Cambridge at Ding Ho's, and I walked in. I'd like to sign up for the open mic. He goes, good for you. And he goes, you got number 51. I go, what? He goes, 51. 51 is, yeah, number 51, after 50, and before 52. Because that's really a good spot. And I'm laughing. I go, what do you mean? Jerry, the show goes from 7 p.m. to at least 1. So if you do the math, that's 6 hours.
My word.
Yeah. And I did it, and I did impressions, singing impressions, and he liked it. And so he goes, you next time you come back, you know, you sign up here and I'll give you a better spot. And I'm saying, he's not gonna remember me. He goes, the voice guy. Well, when I came the second time, I go, yeah, how you doing? He goes, good. He goes, I got a good spot. I go, really? He goes, wait till you hear this. He goes, 38. I go, 38. He goes, lower than 51. I go, true. I go, 13 spots higher. The more you come, or the more I think you do really good. And I said, okay. And I did it, and I did good. And so I went once a month, so the third month. And I went, he lived up to his word. He goes, Jerry. I said, yeah. Once a month, sorry, I'd like to see you more, but once a month is fine. And as I kept going, less and less of my friends were going. They go, you didn't change your act. I go, how can I? I only have so many jokes. And I've been doing it for, you know, technically 4 days. This is my 4th day, but whatever. So I went and I showed up. He goes, the award points are working for you. Check this out. He goes, 26. I go, all right, it's 12 spots higher. And the last show that I did, and he always told me, don't give up, hang in there. You're in a good spot. You have the personality. You got to work on a few things. He goes, but that's, what is it? You have third show, I go fourth. You know, actually fifth there, and I had fourth there and 2 more in another way. Stick with it. He goes, guess where I got you? 20. He goes, yeah, you're in big time. You're a big time. You're number 18.
18!
So he lived to his word. It gave me the confidence, but I just backed off because less and less people kept showing up, and I couldn't get family to go. I couldn't even bribe family to go.
Yeah.
Family,
Yeah.
But
well, where did you live at the time?
I lived in Lynn, so.
Okay.
You know,
It wasn't that far.
No, it's just they.
Well, it's like what we talked about earlier. People get in their rhythms and they don't want to get out of their rhythms.
Right. And so then I came back in 1993. Well, I worked at Digital Equipment Corporation, and one of my bosses said, you know, because I entertained at this party for some girl that was leaving, I go, give me some stuff on her and I'll try to make jokes. We know nothing about her. She's a big boss. Nobody sees her. We're just wishing her goodbye. So I just did my own thing, and I did like 15 minutes, and they loved it. They thought it was great. I was telling jokes. I made up some jokes. I did a lot of voices.
Yeah.
So my boss, Ann Burns, God rest her soul, she died of cancer was sad. She was a great person. She taught me if you go to Nick's Comedy Stuff, awesome. I'll get a bunch of people to follow you there. I go, are you serious? She goes, I'm not going to lie to you. I said, okay. So they assembled 13 people, and then my wife came, we started 14 people. So I got to Nick's, and looking out the window, we were in the second, third, guy next goes, did you bring people? I go, they should be here. I go, oh, here they are now. Who's the school bus? I go, either it's a Partridge family or it's my friends. A few staggered out of the day, because they were drinking on the bus, except the driver. And they came in, the driver waited outside, and they were great support. And I did like 4 to 5 minutes. And Jim Maletta was another great comic in Boston, easy top 10. Nice man and very funny. Did impressions too.
Yeah.
He didn't even know me. And he brought me, you saw when you saw the film, he goes,
Yeah.
oh, glad to have this guy back. I was never there. Glad to have him back. Very funny guy. You know.
That's awesome.
I enjoy him too. Let's hear it for Jerry Caruso. He said it, he's also tough. So he's doing the same thing. And people go, do you know him? I go, no. Nice man. Glad he did it. I did it, and then from there I went on. So officially from 1993. If you want to count, a month worth of shows or a week worth of shows, I don't bother. People go, oh, you should go to. So you've been doing this since 80. I go, yeah, 80, and took a hiatus for 13 years. That doesn't work.
So you've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
And so obviously the last couple of years have been a little weird, right? Including when I met you, right? Like it's just a weird world to live in.
It is.
What is the worst thing about comedy in this weird political cultural
I get to
landscape? What is the worst thing?
First of all, people nervous with COVID, and I get it. because, you know, it's contagious, and I get it, and some get it, and some don't. COVID is. And so I think that held a lot of people back. I remember a woman came to my show, like I did a show in June or July. When you came to that place, Little Anthony's.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
food, Winterton.
Loved it.
And I did a show with Jenny Freeman and my friend Bill Slum. That's what it was sad. He had cancer. It beat him. And after
Wait a minute, the guy who was with us?
Yeah, the guy who looked like Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed.
Oh, wow.
And I got to tell you another funny story after that about him. So we had done a show there, and I knew people say, I don't know if I can come. I go, why? I go, that's when, you know, the warmer weather, COVID goes away, or viruses go away. I don't know. But people were happy it was outside. They had it outside. We got like when we had it in that house, the second show that you came to,
The fall
show that had that 49-degree night, which
yeah, it
odd
was,
for
it was pretty
September.
cool.
It was. And so, but the first time, you know, people said, oh, I don't know if I can come. And they found out it was outside, some people came. So people were real leery about it. People wear masks. What do you wear a mask outside for? You know, if you don't have anything wrong, you know, but whatever. So that was a weird thing to try to get acclimated and come back into it. It made it weird, you know, you had to wear a mask until you got on stage at times. And I abide by the rules, and I'm careful. So that was one thing. But then the political atmosphere changed. There was a lot of
Even beyond that?
Yeah, because there was a lot of wokeness going on where people say, oh, you can't make fun. One woman got mad at me, this is years ago before that happened, and it came to the nth degree, it just magnified because I made fun of myself being Italian, and she objected to it. Joe for the Cancer Society. Here's the thing, she was not Italian, she had not one speck of Italian.
And you're Italian!
And she said, I'm appalled you made fun of Italians. I go, I'm Italian. And she says, you also made fun of different groups. I go, no, I didn't. Like there was like a gay club there. I had it at Franklin Pierce University. And I'm going to get to my point, really. If you have 2 hours, I'll get to it. So Franklin Pierce University, they had a Relay for Life there.
Yeah.
And there was a club they called a gay club. And you know, we're gay and we're proud. I go, that's fine, I don't care.
Yeah.
And she says, you were making fun of them, and I really wasn't. I had a song where that word fit in perfectly. I said, I'm not gay. And something, it rhymed with day. And so the gay club was like, yeah.
So they loved it.
You're helping our cause. And she said they were angry at me, and what she failed to see is after that show, I hooked up with them and just, no, honey, I didn't hook up with them. I met them afterwards when I was hanging out.
Hopefully your wife doesn't watch it. That's true confessions.
That's right. And we hung out, and they said, that was so cool that you did that. Did you do it an hour on? I go, no, it's part of my act. And this woman said he throttled the gay crowd with one comment. They didn't like it. They were rooting me on. And so they canceled me out of the 3 shows I was doing for the Relay for Life in New Hampshire. I said, are you serious? And the girl who organized it said, Jerry, I don't know why. I just do what I'm told. I'm sad that I have to do this to you. Next year I was able to get back into it. But I think because everybody had time to be at home, everybody had time to not be able to go out, everybody had all this free time, then all these people come out of the woodwork, and comedy got attacked because more and more, the past, I'd say 3 to 4 years, you know, you have to be politically correct. Now, luckily, I don't have an act where I border things and you know.
Yeah, you were pretty upfront with us on that in comedy class. You were like, I stay away from politics, stay away from that stuff.
I call it the 60-40 theory. You're going to get 60 or 40% that like you, and that other half of the equation is going to not like you.
Yeah.
And be either destructive, leave, or start jarring at you, and then you have to get the authorities involved that are in the clubs. You're like, hey, can you keep quiet? You know, and they were like, not. So I think there's been that shift where all this time for people to talk about things like, oh, you shouldn't make fun of nationalities. You shouldn't say this word. You know, this word means this, that, and the other thing. It's like, really? Yeah. And I know many comics that have stopped performing at colleges because some of them become that way.
Yeah.
And it's ironic. College crowds are not my type. Not that I don't like them. I love colleges. I graduated, I went to college 7 years. Community college was really fun, so trust me. But I actually got 2 degrees out of it. But I remember going, but I remember I did a show a long time ago with my buddy Justin McKinney. Very funny guy, look him up. I love Justin. We did a show together, and the college they were great. They liked me, they didn't love me, but at that time I've been doing it like 10 years, possibly 12 years. And I slowly was learning to adjust the audiences and read the audiences. And now I pick and choose and I'm able to pull it off. Thank God. So yeah, there's those 2 things that changed the atmosphere, and people not wanting to go out. I had one show I did for a girl with cancer, and it never fell through, but people still came. And one guy goes, "Oh, I'm glad to be. We need to get out. This is last July. We need to get out. This is really cool. And we're happy. We know you wear a mask. That's cool. And take it off stage." And the guy, and then he called me over to sit next to them, and I sat next to him. And he goes, "Hey, did you get the vaccine?" Right? I go, "Honestly, no." He got violent with me. He goes, "Get the blank away from my table." And he goes, his wife goes, "Don't do this." He goes, "Matter of fact, we don't need to talk to you at all. Matter of fact, we don't need to be at the show." I go, "Fine, that's how you feel, fine."
Wow.
And I walked out. He already paid. I told my wife, "Give him his money back." So I don't want to go see him. I don't want to get in a fight with this guy. She gives his money back. He goes, "No, I feel bad. I should let you keep the money." My wife goes, "No." My husband's very honest. He says, "If you're not going to show, he's going to give you the money back." And he felt bad. And eventually the waitress came back and gave us his money.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Like there are so many people that, it's like, it changes the scene, because I know people that come to shows and some people talking to each other like, "I think he's unvaccinated over there." It's like,
oh my word.
It shouldn't be like that. And I think it helped to shift the audiences. And I don't know if it, but now I know too, from doing stuff like this, and doing Zooms and talking to different people out there, everybody feels the same way. Yeah, COVID's out there, but we have to do what we can. We have to do what we can to get back to normal. Too.
Yeah.
But that hit comedy, hit the entertainment business badly.
Yeah.
Look at, who was the one, was it Eric Clapton? They said they demanded in England, anybody who comes to his concert is going to be vaccinated. He goes, "I will not do a show if you're telling everybody they have to be vaccinated." And he goes, "If you don't want to book me, that's fine." And they're looking at him like,
"You're Eric Clapton."
So it's like, so I feel that a lot of entertainers, they're like, hey, I respect people who get the shot. I respect people who don't get the shot. If you don't get it, there's going to be a reason. Don't build politics into it, but build your reason. Whether it's religious reason, whether it's, mine is half religious and half because I have a heart condition. So it's like, I just look at it like, I'm going to have a long talk with my doctor, like in a few weeks to see what I should do.
Yeah.
He says I should get it. I go, I want him to explain to me because I have clogged arteries. Like, what Italian doesn't, honestly? All we eat is bread and pasta, so plenty of gluten in it.
I'm totally offended by that.
What? About the gluten?
That you just
That's
pinpointed
That's
that.
fine. I can get you a job in the committee for the Cancer Society. I'm kidding. They're great people. And I see the change too, where I know I told you I did shows at the Hope Lodge in Boston. Used to do the Hope Lodge in Worcester, and Worcester dissolved. It was sad. It was a sad night when that happened. I was there for it. But now Boston's having every month. I was giving shows.
Yeah.
Just out of the good of my heart, bring another comic with me, Paul Durant's. Sometimes a third comic, but mostly me. I was basically doing 30 to 45 minutes. Paul would do 10 to 15, and Cork came in and do 5 minutes. Because everybody's different. Because it's like doing a show with scattered amount of people.
Yeah.
There was a room where they just had dinner. Some stayed, some didn't. Some had treatment that day, some didn't. But it was such a wonderful experience. Obviously, I can't go back to that until things get better.
Right.
And it's sad. I offered doing a Zoom, an online thing, and I'd be happy to do that for them. I have to talk to my friend Ann who works there and see if we can work on something. They're ready to make me come back this past summer, but the numbers got a little spiky then. And I get it if you're a cancer patient. I totally understand.
Yeah.
But I want to be creative with them. Say, put them in another room, and I'll be in another room. Give me a speaker, and it'll broadcast at the other room. Or put me on the closed circuit, whatever. So I got to talk to them because that changed my dynamic there.
Yeah.
I lost 12 to 14 shows a year because of that. I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It's a great experience. But that's how it changed. If you had one question for me, I give you an hour. So And I know you have more.
Well, here's another one. Why do you think, obviously, why do you think laughter is so important?
Because there are a lot of people beside the pandemic. Let's just step away from the pandemic. And people who are lonely, people who don't have anybody, people who lost loved ones, and you know, they just lead a life where they go to work, they go home, pat the dog, feed the cat, go to sleep, and do it all over again. So a lot of people don't do anything. On comes the pandemic, and it makes it even worse for those people. So I think that people, they need to laugh, and they should laugh. Hey, it's in the Bible, you know, the way of mirth is, I don't know what it is. But
I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
A cheerful heart
yeah,
is good medicine, but a broken spirit saps a person's strength.
absolutely. I mean, so I think people need that, and I've been in the laughter business since, like I said, since I was a little kid. I was, you know, doing crowd work at family dinners.
Yeah.
Bragging on my
Yeah.
parents. It's like, they'd hate me, but my ass sons would be like, oh, God, you're right on. I get home and I get this, and, you know, pick apart my body. But it's like, so I've been in the business for all these years, but I also know that, plus laughter and humor basically opens up the door, yes, to make people laugh, but they're more comfortable in front of you when they laugh, or they feel like, oh, I have a connection there. Oh, this guy's easy to love. Oh, this guy smiles. Oh my God, you know, this is easy. So for people, someone had told me once, she'll kill me if I say her whole name, but Phyllis, I worked with her at Digital Federal Credit Union, and she had told me, she says, and I hate you, she says, because you opened me up, and she was like, always like, kind of like shy or to herself, and we had to work side by side, but she said, but then I noticed some things that you were doing, and please, don't take this as bragging, because it's not, I don't believe in it, I think it's the worst thing people can do. She said, there's this one girl, you always say hi, just come pick up her reports, because I'm an IT guy.
Yeah.
And you always greet her, you say, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's new? And she goes, you make her feel like she's part of something, because she's basically shy and quiet and introverted, and you open her right up. And she says, then you add a joke, and you get her to laugh, and she goes, she hardly laughs, you know, because that's kind of life that she was leading. But then, you know, so I've noticed that places that I've been to, I'm always for and bottom line, she goes, you're always for the underdog. I go, what are you talking about? She goes, no, you always come to bat for the underdog, and I was an underdog, and so you make me feel at home. She goes, you just start this, or like I'm part of the group. I go, no, since I was in high school. I try to get along with everybody.
Yeah.
But even if I made people laugh, like, you know, the drama kids or you know, certain people, and people say like, why do you hang out with them? And I said, I don't judge anybody by the way they are. There was like sports nuts, you know, the jocks, you know, there were the popular kids, and I just try to get along with everybody.
Yeah.
And I've always used that tool of humor, you know, that God gave me to help me make people laugh. So humor leads to laughter, and that just bonds me with so many people. And my wife said, she goes, every time we go somewhere, somebody winds up your friend. Not all the time. Not when we do our taxes, and then, you know. now I get in an argument, I'm paying for bills. But I always try that.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm trying to sell them. They go, you a comedian? I go, well, yeah. So I go, come to one of my shows. You wouldn't have a car. They go,
there it is.
You know, it's up my sleeve and pull it up like a magician. Not like Steve Shrek, he's the best. But I mean, so I think that people just need it, their desperate need. You know, you know as well as I do. The news is like, you know, like people say, you want to be a happy person, don't watch the news.
Yeah, I don't even watch it anymore.
That's
it's
so true.
Miserable.
So true. I mean, I watch some of the news shows that poke fun at politics, poke fun at what's going on.
Yeah.
Like Greg Gutfeld on Fox, and he's very funny in some of the other shows that they have. But I know that, they'll bring out opinions of what's going on, but they try to poke fun at things.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great thing. There's a guy who works for EWTN, the Christian Network, one of them, I don't think you know it. Would you?
I've heard of that network.
There we go. Christian Arroyo, and is it Christian? I think it is. And he's very funny. He's tongue in cheek, but he builds a lot of humor. So he'll make an appearance on the show. He goes, "Here's what I saw when that interview happened, now watch this, and he pulls out the funny out of it instead of the serious message that's coming out of it. So I think about it now. Humor and comedy more built in, more so than ever. Remember you watch the news and they never joke around, and then slowly but surely they be joking around. Oh, nice dress! I got one of that like at home. It's probably the truth. But I mean, or they joke around, go, oh, me dance? Yeah, you don't want to see me dance. And so they try to lighten it up. And so everything you watch, even a drama, somehow comedy is built in.
Yeah.
You know, just to say, people are gonna get shot here. It's fake, folks. It's a movie or a show. But there's always that humor that's built in.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying dark humor, but any kind of humor, just to, So it kind of eases the tension somehow, or even a situation like, oh, I'm really nervous about watching this movie. Oh, there's some funny lines. This movie has funny lines. It's about the mafia. How can it have funny lines? It did. So always humor is built in. Workplaces like that too, where people try to build in humor workshops and try to say, they'll have me entertain my company, Marty Bioservices in Pepperell, and every once in a while I do a show and I have a sidekick, this girl Danielle Holbert, watching Danielle, but I mentioned her name. And she's like my sidekick.
Yeah.
She has some funny in her, but she's almost like my straight person.
Yeah.
Much better looking than me, but she'll do that, and it works well, and they let me do it, and I just keep my boundaries. I don't swear, I don't allude to anything, sexual. Just build it in, and they like it.
Yeah.
And some of the sites that we support will say, oh, you should come down to New Jersey and do a show for us. Like, I just think we're online. I do the same thing, But they're nice people, my friends down there, and others have said the same thing. So at least they're trying to build in, like, break for a laugh. It started off with just like, comedy 101.
Right.
How to do it and how it's fun. And it's grown into, let's see, I don't know, four different shows now, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
Where me and that girl will do it, and she'll do a good job, and she smiles. She's laughing half the time, so it's kind of like laughter's contagious, and people watch and say, "Oh my God, what is she? Oh, I know what she's laughing at," And then we want to do like a Q&A thing, or don't do what we do, or Q&A, like how many people should I invite to my dinner party at Christmas? None. Just stupid stuff, but we want to do that, and they're open to that idea. I think that's going to be in January. It'll be a month later than I wanted to do it. But
Yeah.
we talk about how we survive Christmas and New Year's and all this stuff. But so they've invited it. So the more and more doctors are the same thing.
Yeah.
Doctors, you go to a doctor, they'll, unless they got bad news for you, but even they try to work around, not around it, but by trying to make you laugh to ease you.
Yeah.
It lowers your blood pressure. So many things it does. I'm not going to get into that. It's another show.
It does. I mean, we actually did something last week called Jingle Jam. We do it every Christmas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you invited me.
And the whole thing Dan's in it. He's a comic host. There's a comic host and a credible host. And the whole thing is based on like the way Disney writes. So there's the point is nativity scene, right? And it's totally for kids, except adults. There's a ton of adult jokes written in.
Like the cartoons.
Yeah, like cartoons, right? And so it allows people to come to church, and I'm listening to adults laughing their heads off.
Right.
And if only every week in church could be like that, right? Like it does. It lowers your blood pressure. There has to be some health.
Oh God, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Health positive.
Clears your head.
Yeah.
Relaxes you. I mean, it lowers the blood pressure. The flow of your blood. It helps. You breathe better. It clears your lungs. It massages your stomach. I mean, skeletal muscles in your face. So many of them that it eases. It's so weird that people don't believe. Trust me. I go. That's why I talk about it. Heart helps with the heart.
Yeah.
Pump the blood. Carry the oxygen cells. Beat stronger. There's a lot of things that it does, and people go, yeah. I mean, when I saw Patch Adams, that movie, I go, that's how I want to be when I grow up. I'm 66. I'm still waiting for that. But I don't think it's here. Come in, we'll make us laugh. But that's like every time I go to the hospital, I try to make people laugh. maybe it's to ease my tension too as to what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Colonoscopy, I had to go on for colonoscopy. There was a woman.
Oh man.
She goes, I'm doing the same thing. She goes, I'm so scared. I go, don't be scared. The walls there, the cloth wall. This is before COVID, by the way. And, like the cloth wall. She goes, I've done this before. She goes, oh, is it that bad? I go, no. If you get knocked out, you wake up, and it's like nothing ever happened. She goes, oh, really? I go, the only tough part is when you use that 14 gauge hose just to go up. Oh my God. And my wife goes, what are you saying? And I go, I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
They don't use it now, they 14 gauge hose. How can they do that? They use a 10 gauge hose, I said. And the nurses are laughing and this woman's freaking out. She's probably not my friend. But I try to ease the tension because there's always tension. And laughter, sparks communication, breaks up tension, and there's so many things. It just opens the door.
Yeah.
Our company got bought out. They call it a merger. It's a buyout. So they bought us out like another company. And I appreciate the owners, what they did for us all the years I've been in. And that's great. I still have fun there. But the owners, when they come along, they try to inject a little humor when they send in the message. And it could be minute, but, I couldn't do that. I couldn't work 8 hours a day. Just like simple stuff that they say. And people laugh. So when you're trying to convey a serious message, then, laughter can bridge that.
Yeah.
Just makes it.
So, what's your spiritual background? I know we've talked a little bit about this, but what's your spiritual background, and how does that kind of help round out your worldview in terms of comedy? Is there anything funny about it?
Oh God, I went to Catholic school. That starts right there. I was a moving target. And then as I got to high school, it was just as bad where the nuns would be like staring at me, just nodding their heads. And one time I did a senior banquet, and that was the main act. How that happened? Girls sang beautifully. One played she was a pianist. Did I say that on the show? Yeah. Is it pianist? Whatever it is. Isn't it?
Whatever you do, don't make yourself clear there.
Right, thank you. Yeah, that's worse. I'm drawing attention. She played beautifully, and then I told jokes. And I remember being on stage, I told a few jokes about the nuns. And then there's Sister Monica, and then there's Sister Mary, going on and on. And I look at the principal, I go, we're having fun, right? She's just staring at me. I go, hey, in another week I'll be graduating. She goes, not yet. And I go, But she really liked it.
Yeah.
Because I was king of the detention. Could have been prince, but I was like king.
Last week, my son asked me, he was reading a book from a joke book, and he loves to do that. He says, hey, Dad, what's black and white and red all over? And my wife was pretty ticked when I answered, a bloody nun.
Whoa!
He's like, no, a newspaper. I like my answer better.
Whoa. Parenting 101.
I really should probably not talk.
No, but that's still, but it's like the same thing. And that's like, I love teaching people comedy and trying to teach them to get up there. And I see people do very well with it. It just depends on what you want to do with it. Even if they do it just once with that 15 minutes of fame or 5 minutes of fame, God bless it. So, getting back to Catholic school was an adventure. But as I tell people that I've been interviewed with in little newspapers and big ones, I tell them, or radio stations, same thing. Parochial school was my stage. 7th and 8th grade, St. Patrick's School had a schoolyard. And I was out there entertaining kids. And I think it didn't bother the nuns because it kept them from beating the heck out of each other. You can say hell. But so I worked hand in hand with them. But by the time I got to high school, it took me 2 years to start to do my own thing. Like, we had different buildings we go to, science building, this building, gym. It had to be 4 or 5 buildings you'd go back and forth in. And there was conveniently, where you're changing classes at lunch, I start doing voices and telling jokes, and I'd be at the top of the stairs, going into the building, and the crowd would slowly gather. It was like amazing.
Nice.
And that helped me to get used to audiences.
Yeah.
Yes, I graduated in '73. It took me 7 years to hit the stage in reality. Outside of working or taking classes at the community college level and injecting humor. Yeah. I remember I took a class, was it North Shore Community College in Beverly.
Oh, wow.
And the teacher, Bob Matthews, nice guy. And he used to always know I was going to tell a joke. We did medieval times. He goes, he goes, in these times, he goes, when you read these books, he goes, does anybody know, was there anything, and he was pushing at organizations or like clubs, were there any forms? And I said, and he looked at me begrudgingly, he goes, Mr. Caruso. I said, well, a round table, and everybody belonged to a round table. Was a very good point. I said, yeah, and you know what that turned into? That was the very first nightclub, I said. He goes, why do I ask you? But then I give him real answers, But so college was the other one that gave me that background to,
Yeah.
You sit, it's so easy to sit in the last row and then yell out stuff without being disruptive and then kind of get to the point. So it gave me that opportunity, and workplace was the same way. I'm surprised I never wound up in HR. Not in HR, I mean working for them, because I wanted to go into training because I talk about something serious but inject humor so it make people learn faster or make learning fun. And, it never happened, so I stuck with IT and, but anyway.
You wouldn't be good at HR though. Have you seen The Office?
Yeah.
Is that Toby, who's the
Toby,
HR guy?
So getting back, so religion is an important part of my life. I still go to church as much as I can. Me and my wife, lovely wife Robin. We're practicing Catholics. I know it sounds like a football team. Yeah, practicing Catholic. Okay, everybody line up. We got practice at 4 today. But so we go to church, and minimal involvement, but we're there, praise God, and do our thing. But I also think it paved the way for me to do church shows. And also taught me from listening to lectors and priests when I try to inject humor into it. And there's a way to do it. And I've done more than a handful of churches. I'd say at least closer to 15. Not even counting when I did shows here, but it's not directly for the church. I've done the Congregational Church in Orange, I think it was. And my friend and I, that guy that looked like Chuck Norris, Bill was horrified. They want us to go in a pulpit. Yeah, what's wrong with that? He goes,
well, I heard of that. I know why he was like.
Right, but just keep it clean. And he did 10 minutes clean, and he did a good job.
Yeah.
I proceeded to do 50 minutes clean.
Yeah.
He goes, I watch you do it. I don't know how you did it. I go, everything's squeaky clean. Everything's Disney. Everything's like, this is my 45-minute audition, for a clean role, and I did it. So I think church, I also think that I always thank God, because I think God gave me the ability to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And I've used it and still am using it. But one of the most important things that came out of comedy is, like, the second year doing comedy, I started Comics for a Cure with Tony Marcus, because he saw me do a benefit. He goes, you did one for AIDS and you did great. Maybe you can connect me to different comics and we'll do shows together. And we did it for a bunch of years, and then he left to go move somewhere else. And I just took over. And I always think that, God has me on a mission to make people laugh and raise money at the same time. People are saying, well, you're supposed to make money. I'm not looking to make money. The end game is to help someone out who's in need, make people laugh, and take them away. Like when I do cancer patients, a show, they might have gone through terrible treatment. And one guy told me once, older guy, when I talk about Oscar, he goes, oh, Judy, I was a little nervous about my treatment, but I listened to your joke. I think one of your joke, and it was a lot easier to get the treatment because I think your joke. I go, Oscar, I hope it was a funny joke. It was about when I fell flat on my face. He goes, no, it's a funny. You're funny. Because he came to a lot of my shows. He was in treatment so many months a year, and he'd always see me. He'd hand me jokes, and I know you've heard some of them.
Yeah.
But he made that valid point. So I thank God I have that ability, and I also have the ability to reach out to people and say, hey, try it. You have nothing to lose. And I guarantee you, I'm not going to screw up. Did I say screw up? Yeah, I guess. Because it brings the opportunity. But for me, not only to represent the church and whoever's in the church, whoever runs the church, or the priest, the pastor, the rector, whoever's there, but I represent me too.
Yeah.
I could walk away and say, I did an anti-show in church. You should have seen what happened. Oh my God, they went crazy. I'll I'll never go back there again, but it's such a funny story. But I don't want a funny story. I want people to walk away saying, I reconnected with Holy Trinity Church in Webster, because I'm big. And I did a lot of shows for them in Webster, and then my friend left to, he had to go to another parish. And I broke ties with them, so I reunited with them again, and I wrote them, like, hey, you want to do another show? Oh my God, I remember you, Jerry! And it turned out to be one of the girls that, one of the admins there, and they want me back.
Oh, nice.
Which I welcome that. I appreciate the opportunity you gave me here, and still are, because,
yeah,
we could do a lot with it. And like you said, people need to laugh. So I just thank God that I have that ability to make people laugh, and I get to do a good Jesus joke. And it's not a bad joke.
You don't have to justify it to me, come on.
Oh, Jesus was in the crowd, when he was doing the miracles and doing his thing. And he ran into teenagers and, young teens, in Jerusalem, was that area there. So he hears the kids talking, yeah, that Jesus seems like a cool guy. Yeah, things he does, the way he talks, and, he reaches out to everybody. He's really cool. And so, wish we could meet him. And he speaks up and goes, I'm Jesus. And the kid goes, no way. He goes, yeah, I did that to was it Episcopal? It's a church up in Maine with Danny Bullis and Mark Riley. They loved it.
Yeah.
It was a cute play on words. Like I heard it. It's not my joke, but forgive me, Father.
One more question.
Go ahead.
So your wife's name is Robin.
Yep.
And you have a son. Matthew.
Yeah.
Have you ever said to your son, like Robinson Caruso?
Oh, stop.
That's primitive.
Everybody uses that.
Really? Really?
Is your son's name Robin? And what are you getting at? I don't know where they go.
I don't know. I heard it
such a great
when you
one.
said Robin. I was like,
everybody says that.
oh my word,
Yeah.
that's too good.
And he's son, yeah.
Low-hanging
Son and
fruit
daughter,
right there.
Kylie and Matthew. It's like, it's so funny. We have two people that do, not the gospel, gospel going to Luke. We have a Luke in our family. We have Matthew. I have a cousin John. Who's the other guy? Paul?
Mark.
Oh, Mark. I have a Mark.
Or if you're from New England, Mark.
Mark, yeah. Mark. No, I don't have a Mark on me, but whatever. So I was at 3 out of 4.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it.
It was fun.
I'll close out with a couple things here. This is kind of, I give some chaff and good news every week.
Yeah.
Usually I give a birthday. Do you know anybody whose birthday? I'm going to give them a shout out. There's no birthdays this week that I know of who are part of Chaff and Church.
I'm on the 25th. Whose is that?
Yours?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus! You
that's
just
birthday.
Jesus juked me. That was fantastic. All right.
In a good way.
Actually, my wife's cousin is also, or aunt is also her birthday.
Actually, my granddaughter, Mariah, her birthday is next week. So.
Really, Mariah?
Yeah, Mariah. Yeah.
All she wants is Christmas is you, Mariah Carey.
No, but that's a pretty good one. You should take a comedy class.
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
I did.
No.
So there is some chaff and good news. We have our final totals for the year that we gave as a church to the food pantry. We have a food and code drive every week.
That's nice.
Every month, rather. And this year we gave 3,871 pounds of food to Wachisa Food Pantry and 880 coats to Vets Inc. and Salvation Army.
Oh, Vets Inc. is great. I've done shows for them too.
Yeah.
Same deal. Can't go back until things get a little better. But Vets Inc. is a great place.
Yeah.
That's great.
Where's the next place you're going?
Next place I'm going.
Do you have anything booked?
I'm doing, January 12th, I'm doing NAAP, National Association of Acting Professionals.
Oh, wow.
I'm speaking for them nationally. They'll have something there, and I talk about laughter is the best medicine. Then I have a show, I'm going to do an appreciation show for veterans. I think it's the 26th at Tavern 13 in Leominster. And if you want to come, you can come.
Yeah, sounds great.
And do something. We'll do a show in appreciation of veterans, fire, police, EMTs.
Cool.
Yeah, we're not charging them anything. Just come in, in a place that's hosted. I'm doing something in New Hampshire for, I think, a woman battling cancer. So
Okay.
always doing something.
Awesome.
In between all my Zooms and stuff. I got to have you on my Zoom. That reminds me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So, great. Hey, thanks for joining us today. We'll close up. Of course, this is a church podcast, so don't forget about giving. If you love the Chaffin Church podcast or Chaffin Church, we'd love to have you share with us in that way. You can send any gifts you have to 155 Shrewsbury Street in Holden, or chaffin.church is our new website. We just came out with a new website. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, I gotta look that up. Yeah.
Or you can text any amount to 84321. So, this has been good news. Now go and give some out. Have an awesome day.